Hey guys, what's up? And welcome back to the channel. Thanks for taking some time to tune in today. Much appreciated. And today we're going to talk about a topic that a little bit off the wall, but sort of was brought up by a couple of comments I had on the post I did the day before yesterday on spawning bass. And that's the conversation I had with some PETA members several years ago. I think you guys might find interesting. And first of all, I'm not really sure why people brought up PETA in relationship to the spawning bass video I did. The spawning bass video I did was a conservation issue. It didn't have anything to do with PETA. So I'm not really sure why that came up, but I got several comments sort of comparing it to PETA, and made me, want to share the story with you guys, which I was involved with about probably 10 years ago with them, I guess. First of all, PETA is a real controversial topic amongst anglers particularly. And, one of the things that I really think is important, I think it's important for us to respect everybody's point of view. If we have a point of view that we don't agree with, we can always, disagree or agree to disagree. And Sage is playing with the toy here. And so I think from the first part, when you're dealing with somebody like PETA that's controversial in the fishing community, it's important to remember that, just show some respect even though we disagree with some stuff. But, the thing about PETA, the basic premise of it, people for ethical treatment of animals, I don't think anybody can disagree with that particular statement. Nobody wants to see animals abused. I mean, everybody wants to see animals treated ethically. And I don't know anybody that I know that, enjoys seeing the animals suffering. So, but the difference is as far as the perspective on how they see that coming down. First of all, I think a lot of the issue that PETA has is, I think people have to realize that in order for us to survive, in order for people and animals to survive, you have to take life to do that, whether that be animal or plant life. And we've become disconnected from that reality a lot. Back, thousands of years ago, people were very connected with that fact of having to take life to survive. And what we have seen and how we have grown as a society is, since we are disconnected from that, most of the society is disconnected from taking life to survive, whether it be plant or animal. The more disconnected that you are to it, the more respect that you lose for those particular creatures. And one thing that I'll tell everybody, if you put yourself in a survival situation where you haven't eaten for a week, I can promise you, when you have that opportunity to, I don't care if it's a carrot or if it's a rabbit or whatever, when you take that carrot out of the ground or kill that rabbit, you're going to have tremendous respect. You're going to have more of a respect for that animal for sustaining your own life than you would if you had it on a full stomach. So as a society overall, I think we've lost a lot of respect for respect and gratitude that like the Native Americans had when they had to take a life. So I just wanted to get that clear. So anyway, let's talk about this little story about PETA and my conversation with him. I was at a tournament, excuse me, an FLW tournament at a Beaver Lake. And this has probably been 10, 12 years ago, something like that. And at the tournament weigh-in, the first day of the tournament weigh-in, PETA showed up at the tournament. And, they were dressed in, most of them that were there were like, 20, 21-year-old, girls, that type of thing. I think there was a few guys there, but they were all dressed in fish costumes, like just a fish Halloween costume, carrying signs that said "fishing is a pain." So anyway, the first thing I want to say about the PETA guys, about the PETA people were there, is it doesn't matter if you can't stand them, if you disagree with them and think they're ridiculous, you got to admire the fact of how much courage it took for the small group of people from PETA. I'm talking like, there was like 8 or 10 of them, to come into an extremely hostile environment of a bunch of good old boys at a bass tournament. You're talking about they stepped into the lion's den when they walked in there. So from that standpoint, that takes some courage to do that. So, even though if you disagree with them, you have to hand the fact to them that, they showed a lot of courage, simply by, coming to that event and, doing what they were going to do. So anyway, one of them was there, and I walked up to him, and I started talking. I started talking to him, and I said right off the bat, first of all, and I think that they were probably taken back that I wasn't like aggressive with them. Like they were getting mouthed by a lot of the fishermen. And I just went up to him and I said, man, I just wanted to let you know that, I admire your courage for coming to this thing, because this is a hostile environment. But I think you got everything wrong. You're the premise that you have as far as fishing as a pain. I said, you're targeting the wrong group here. I said, bass anglers are conservation minded. They don't want to see anything happen to this particular resource. Most everybody out here is very aware of the fact, fish handling and that type of stuff. And I said, the people that you should be focusing on are these corporations and the entities that are polluting this water. Not only are they harming the fish, and they're harming every aspect of the ecology here. They're harming, every creature, that is in this waters here, the bass included, the wildlife, the people that drink the water. I said, you guys are focusing your effort on the wrong group here. And they just came back to it with the statement, well, this is a program against fishing. And I said, another thing, I said, well, do you think that it hurts fish to get caught? And they go, yeah, we think it hurts fish to get caught. And I said, well, just consider this point of view. I said, we relate pain as far as compared to ourselves and our own pain receptors. So I said, just imagine this. I said, imagine if somebody put a hook through your lip and they're pulling on your lip with a rod. Now, that is going to hurt. Absolutely, that's going to hurt. But you're not going to be running as fast as you can away from that hook on the end of that rod trying to get away from it. You're not going to be putting that tension and pulling it against that, simply because that is so painful. I said, when a fish is hooked, it jumps in the air, it pulls as hard as it possibly can to get away. I said, if that fish had pain in its mouth, it would be physically incapable of making those hard runs, pulling and jumping like that. They simply wouldn't do it. I said, the pain receptors are not the same. They don't have pain receptors, like we do. It's just a different nervous system. And they didn't really want to hear that too much. I think that they were focused in on what they were doing. But I wanted to interject that to him, basically just to try to make him thinking a little bit. And I really wanted to hammer home the fact that, they're directing their energies towards the wrong people. And that, like I said, companies that are polluting our water, putting point source pollution in the water, that type of spraying toxic chemicals to kill vegetation, those are the ones they should be protesting up at the corporate headquarters of those people, not the fishermen. So whether it made an impact in them, I'm not sure. But like I said, I just sort of approached them a little bit different than the other anglers. I mean, these people there, they were getting hassled and harassed and cussed at by the fishermen. And like I said, even though I don't agree with them, I don't agree. I agree with the fact that we want to treat animals ethically, and we don't want to abuse animals. Nobody wants that. I don't know anybody that does. So from that standpoint, I think everybody can agree with that premise. It's just how they take it to the next level, without really having a full understanding of it. But nevertheless, even the fact that I disagree with them, their basic, format that they have, I still admire those people that have the courage to get out there in that type of a hostile environment, because it does take courage. And so I sort of look at it that way. But anyway, just wanted to share that with you guys, my little run-in with PETA there. I haven't seen him at a tournament since then. But if you guys ever run into him, try to approach it from that stand. Don't, it doesn't do any good to go up and cuss them out and call them names. Just, make them answer their own questions. And like I said, if we can just treat everybody with respect, even if we don't agree with those people, I think it makes for a much better world for everybody. So anyway, I hope you guys are doing good. That's just today's video, and we'll check in later. See you.